Welcome to Nebraska Preps Postgame with Damon Benning and Jacob Padilla.
Another episode. I'm actually smiling. It's good to be back. Well, I've been in Omaha a little bit, but I was in Indianapolis, obviously, a couple of days. But this is like the first time that I'm back at like my normal comfort zone. We're good people. Jacob Padilla joining us for another week of NEB Preps.
I don't know how you're wearing that hoodie with the weather outside, but
so I don't go outside much.
That's true.
I don't unless, and here's the beautiful thing. My players think I'm crazy, right? So in the summer, I'm can endure tough, crazy guy, right? Like, man, this guy is constantly in layers in the summer. In the fall, I dress exactly the same
way,
except I have to wear pants. So then they still think this guy's crazy. he's it's like the state championship game, and I'm like in a pair of pants, a hoodie with a hoodie underneath it, and some gloves, and I'm rolling. Like there's just, and I'm serious. You can call me crazy, but you're a psycho. You understand the mind. I just think there's something that I've been conditioned to where I don't care what's going on. I don't care about the elements. I have definitely been taught to. I remember at my old house, I shoveled in some shorts and boots, and my neighbors were shaking their head. And I'm like, I promise you, I'm not cold. Like, there's something that happened in college when we couldn't prepare for the climates. We had to practice a certain way where it totally doesn't bother me. Yeah. I probably look silly, but that's okay.
Yeah. I wish I had that trait. Unfortunately, I'm
a
lot better than
you had a vehicle with no AC once before, right?
My brother did. I've been fine mostly with my cars, but yeah, I'm better than people that aren't. Like, I've lived in Nebraska my whole life, so like I'm used to it. But I definitely dress for the weather. Try to wear shorts whenever I can, but if it's
you and Coach Rule,
it's always about the comfort, and so that's if I got to layer up, so be it.
Do you know why he likes to wear shorts? Why? In case he ever has to hop in a drill.
That makes sense.
It's because and there are a couple times we're out at practice, man. His teeth were clicking, like during winter conditioning. I'm like, well, why don't you put some pants? You never know when I got to hop in a drill. I just was like, you're crazy.
Yeah. And that's why we're coming at you late in the week. You've been up there, Big Ten Media Days, and recording this on Friday, and got big sit down with Matt Rule himself coming out today on the Hurrdat Sports feeds.
It was pretty cool, man. I appreciate the plug. It was 90 minutes. We got it whittled down. I mean, we just talk. It was like that in Indy. And
I got up there and just crushed it.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did, Coach. He's you guys have some like the goodness, right? I don't want to. Oh man, now you're comparing Jacob to Coach Rule. Like, just being good, just being other centered, like wanting to do the right thing. Naturally, good things find you, right? Just over time, and I think that's how he is. It's like he's just honest and he's super forthright, and I think good things just happen to find him. So I'm excited for that, and if I could figure out how to get the links out on my phone. Imagine if I was like smart. Have you ever thought about that? Have you been like, God, man, if DB could only think.
Yeah. It would be fair to everybody else if you were good at everything.
If he could just function on his own, right? Like, you just set up my tweet deck. I have no idea. I have no idea what I'm doing. You're doing it one-handed while you're carrying on a conversation. I'm like, it's embarrassing, but it's okay. I know what I'm not good at, and that's quite a few things. Anything electronic, I got a guy.
Yeah. What you're good at, though, is talking sports.
I do like sports. I do like kids. So NEB Preps. Yeah. As we get ready to put a bow on this deal, we transition. The young guys we've got nationals. We're gonna play this weekend.
Oh, fun.
And then they're in Dallas. It's the first time I will send Micah without a blood parent.
Oh boy.
And you know how he is.
Good luck to the parents down there.
I know, right? It's like he's so matured. He's already asked me if I want him to take his debit card. No, I don't like it. This is how this is going to work. This is what we're going to do. We've been mapping out this game plan for like 2 weeks with him. But, I mean, you got a chance to get some good running through July.
Yeah.
Like, that has to feel pretty good because we didn't with ETG, and it was so hit and miss and discombobulated. There were sometimes the lack of continuity made it not very fun.
Yeah, definitely. And that's, again, like kind of tale of two seasons for my team. In the spring, we went 10-10. In July, we went 15-2. And difference is we had all of our guys for the most part. I mean, we had Nate Kelly was there for 25 of our games. We went 22-3 in those games. We went 3-9 in the games without him. So that tells you how important he was to the lineup. But Jordan Aguema as well. When he was back, we we lost one time in July with all 10. Actually, we lost one time all season with all 10. It was to a 16U team. So
in retrospect, I know at the beginning you said you were excited.
Yeah.
Because you got a chance. You hadn't been with the young guys for a while. You were going to make this fun again. Do you like the younger guys?
Yeah, it's interesting. Like 15U, 16U, 17U, going through them, and like I had the adjustment going back to 15U from 17U because you have to remind kids and stress different things the younger they are compared to guys that have been through this before. Is a lot of these guys their first opportunity, like chance through, because there's a difference between the 14U and then the 15U and above in terms of how the summer circuits work and the level of play and all that. So I do like kind of going through that cycle and being able to build with a core group that you have. Obviously, there's some changes year to year, but each year I've had a core group that I've had 2-3 years throughout that cycle. And then we've added other pieces that have been good fits. So I do like kind of the cycle of, all right, 15U, trying more of the basic, 17U. Now you can get more specific with some things and just kind of adjust to where they're at. And it kind of helps you as a coach. You got to be flexible and kind of get a read for what it is. But mention like, there's still one more this weekend down in Lincoln. Next Pro is having kind of their finals for the teams, like the second division below the Pro 16. So we're all done. Last weekend at the Hardwood Classic down in Kansas City was our last weekend, but the Lincoln Supreme, Nebraska Hoops Elite, and Omaha Elite are all playing this weekend. So this is the last kind of last big summer basketball event for local teams. And then turn the calendar to August, and we'll get into football. But pretty good weekend for us down there. My team went 4-0 by plus 71 point differential. And
you're good about. So one of the things that I like, and no, this is not compliment Jacob Padilla half hour. One of the things that I like is you understand your own internal barometer relative to the competition you're playing. So you're not one of those guys that tweets out of context, right? Like I pretty much know what you think about the competition, how it is relative to how you're capable of playing. Like you usually separate the two.
Yeah, like it wasn't a great, like we didn't play our best. There was a game we fell behind 20-9 and then ripped off a 24-2 run. Ended up winning that game by 12. And that's against a team, I think we talked about, that beat us back in the spring, the game that we had complete collapse and gave up a game-winning 3 with 2 seconds left. So excited to get a chance to play them again, and fell behind 20-9 and then 24-2 run. Like I didn't even realize that. I had to do the math afterwards. Like, okay, we were down this much, and then we ended up getting it. It's like 24-2. Like that's.
Hey, who keeps stats for you while you're coaching? That's what I want to know.
Yeah. Jordan did, and he wasn't able to make the trip down with us, but he statted all 4 games from the live streams for me. So kind of went back afterward, and so I was a little delayed with some of my tweets and shout outs and all that, but all that credit goes to him for keeping it for me. Kind of learn how to do it being around me. And so we kind of both understand the same system and kind of use it the same way. So he's really helpful for all that. It's just good to have this context to know, all right, who the great shooters are. All right, what does he do well? And I was able to tweet out some highlights from all 10 players yesterday, just going back to the numbers and remembering some of the big plays each of them made. So it was fun, and mentioned that VW, getting back to full strength, we beat 3 of the teams that beat us previously, avenged 3 of those losses because you play some of the same teams. And so overall, nice little cap on the summer. Again, there wasn't would have been nice to see like all Iowa attack again, have one more crack at them or something like that. So
how'd you feel about the competition in total?
Like I said, we were clearly the best team there. There wasn't really anybody that, again, the closest game was 12 points, that VWBA game. So that's like the last game we won by 31, and the kids were out there clowning, just throwing up threes. And we shot 12 and 19 from 3 in the last game.
I'm surprised you would stand for that.
After it was the last game, it was over with. It doesn't do whatever you want, guys. Like, it wasn't like we weren't necessarily like trying to embarrass the other team or anything like that, but like they're just taking shots, and like we're not going to run out 2 minutes of game time or whatever. So we're just finishing the game and didn't shoot the 3 ball all weekend long, and then went 12 of 19 in our last game. So it's just good way to end it. Kind of getting some good memories there. We had contributions from everybody. Everybody I mentioned, like I said, go to my Twitter feed. You can see some shout outs for all those guys.
That's at Jacob Padilla. That's 2 L's and an A at the end.
And then an underscore. So we were one team that won 4-0, and then ETG shorthanded. Obviously, we talked about Caleb shut down, getting ready for football. No Jacob Arope, no Trinell Parker. Yeah. So they were shorthanded down there, but they took care of business, went 4-0. And man,
how about those guys playing with 7?
Yeah. And Neil Mosser had a heck of a weekend down there. I saw 3 of the 4 games and tracked them all. I know, talking to his parents, he shot 20 of 31 from 3 in 4 games, which is absurd. And I went through and watching back on video or the game and the games I've done in person. I saw 25 of ETG's games this year. Neil shot almost 44% on 163s in those 25 games. Oh, yeah. That dude is a pretty special 3-point shooter and a good passer too. Better than 2-to-1 assist.
Started to handle the ball a lot more late the second half of the summer. And you can see it with his summer league team too. Westside played Millard North, a month ago, and I wouldn't necessarily say he was a primary ball handler, but he handled the ball quite a bit.
Yep. And especially when Eli was out, and then
Eli was out.
Yeah. And so their best game of the weekend, MPJ Elite, at least in terms of competitiveness and fun, they won 89-77. Neil had 27 on 10 of 15 shooting, including 7 of 10 from 3 in that game. Jaden Jackson had a really good weekend. He had Kevin Stubblefield with a couple of big games. Will Cooper had a couple of big games. And then Eli closed out the weekend with a 20-point game on 10 of 14 shooting, 7 boards, 4 assists, 2 steals. So shorthanded, but a lot of different guys played well. So it's good to see them, like you talked about. It's kind of a stop and start type of spring and summer for them. Didn't have as much success as they're used to. But I was glad adding this extra this extra weekend for them as some D2 coaches down there. I'm glad that they were able to kind of have some fun out there and have some success and close it out that way. And speaking of another team that went 4-0, had another incredible shooting performance, was OSA Elite Klein.
Yeah. I like that team though.
Yeah, they let's see. They went 4-0 down there, beat Phenom Boys Pips, Wisconsin Swing, Powerline, and then Minnesota Lightning Ellerbush, who really good team. Like Klein thought that might be as good of a team as they would have played all year. And it was back and forth. And then second half, they just pulled away and clowned them. It was a really impressive performance. A lot of different guys played really well. And so that was a great way for them to finish off. So talking to Coach Klein, they went 16-0 in July and went 32-4 overall in the spring and summer. So really good team. talked about shooting performance. Steven Polacek from Bellevue West there. I watched 3 of their games, and in those 3 games, he averaged almost 18 a game and shot 61% from 3, 14 of 23. Recently received a Dort offer after showing down there this weekend.
Hey, I know you're not surprised because of the Milliken factor, and even Tanner, his older brother, was playing football. Dort's had a presence.
Well, and Zach Bussard back in the day had a good career for them. Papio South
Dort has a good presence.
And it's been a good program. So that was his first offer. So congrats to him. Definitely made the most of that opportunity. Alec Wilkins had a really good weekend.
I like
3
him.
games.
I like him a ton.
15 points a game on 64% shooting.
I always tell him his little brother's going to be better. He's not buying it.
A little different, but actually, Trevin, he shot the ball well during the stretch. Like he said, like they tweaked some things. Gretna did. Shot like 1,000 shots going into that first weekend, and then shot with confidence and shot the ball well down the stretch. So if like he adds the consistent 3-point shot to go with his unique ability to finish around the basket, and it's kind of interesting how Trevin's game it's similar to Alex in a lot of ways. Definitely a strong left-handed driver, except he's right-handed, unlike his brother. He just plays like he's a left-hander. But both 2 really good players, great family. And Alec received a Morningside offer, and I know they like him.
Again, another school with a tremendous amount of presence.
Yeah.
And what sport isn't Morningside good at?
It's crazy that they've built this powerhouse out there in Sioux City.
It's just a monster.
Yep. And then Ben Johnson, Marquise Tolliver was really good this month.
How about Ben Johnson's spring summer?
So Ben, he's been kind of quiet for them. Like he doesn't assert himself. He's a 16 playing up. He joined the team late. I don't think he necessarily like this.
Some of that is his personality too, though.
Last game, that was out the door. Had 21 points on 8 of 9 shooting, 2 of 3 from 3, 3 of 4 from the free throw line, 11 boards, 3 assists from the start. He was aggressive, and he dominated that game against a really good team. And
they're going to be good.
Yeah, Kearney's going to be very good.
Going to be good.
Corian Gallatin had a good weekend down there, and like I mentioned, Marquise Tolliver. That's like we talked about, that guard play is going to be the key for prep. And if that meshes, like he's got the ability to be an impactful player for them.
It's a good change of direction. I think for him, the biggest thing we're accepting is he's a distributor, take care of the ball, pass first guy.
Yep.
And he's at one point in his career, pre-breaking his leg, he was an elite level defender too. He could really guard. And he changes their trajectory quite a bit with any sort of consistency.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So good to see guys finish out the weekend strong. OSA Travis and Nebraska Supreme 17U, they were both shorthanded, playing with 6-7 players all weekend, with some guys missing. Both went 2-2. Carson Jones deserves a shout out for OSA Travis. I didn't get to watch it, but their first game of the weekend was their best. They ended up winning 58-56 in a real tight one. Carson Jones went out for 30 points in that game, went 6 of 11 from 3, and just recently received an offer from Simpson College over there in Iowa. So good for him. And we talk about this, but fit is so important in AAU in terms of maximizing your chance, your opportunities.
1,000%.
Carson easily could have been on that OSA Klein team, but you've got guys like Alec and Steven and guys that are primary offensive options.
Polacek could. Hey,
Carson would have fit in just fine with those guys, but on that OSA Travis team, I'm pretty sure he led that team in score and led that team in shot attempts. He got a chance to be kind of the guy on that team as opposed to being a good player, on a different team. The team above. So that really, like, once those roster decisions, I think the back end of it, both for the kid and for the team's sake, you don't necessarily want just the 10 best players, regardless of fit, regardless of whatever, because that 10th guy, even a guy like Aiden Zickman on that ETG team, like there are stretches this summer where he just didn't get to play a ton.
Yep.
But you put him on another team.
Very, very capable.
Going back to Central City, like he's the guy for them. So
that was interesting too, because you say that I was watching NBDA with Pokorski playing with them this past. Just different because the role with that huge front line.
Yeah.
not near as much pressure with him. It's a different kind of role,
and the competition level out there and all that kind of difference play into that as well. We'll talk about MBD at the end here to wrap it up. And Nebraska Supreme, shout out to he's going to prep school now. He's leaving Nebraska, but KG Gatwich.
Yeah.
He was the guy that probably stepped up the most, knowing because he's a guy that's been off the bench all year long, had some highlights, had some stretches, but you got guys that are kind of more established as the main options on that team. This weekend, he stepped up. He had 20 points against Marcus Denman Elite. He had 15 points, 9 rebounds against MPJ Elite, 2 good teams there. Stepped up big time. So Eldon Turner got more aggressive and put up 16, 5 assists in that MPJ game. And we see Marcus Glock continue to pull in Division II offers here after capping a really great summer. I didn't get to watch, but he had 29 in their last game.
We talked about his evolution over the month of July. Really starting to shoot it with good efficiency. He's been good off the dribble, been better, I should say. And now those shots are falling.
Yeah.
Okay, May and June were a little bit different than July, and he got ready at the right time. And now he's starting to rack up some offers.
Yep. And the other 17U team there was Nebraska Hoops Elite Black. They also went 2-2. Mentioned them to shout out. They won 2 games by 2 points, and one of them was on a buzzer-beating floater from Ricky Lofton from Omaha West Side.
He's played well.
Yeah, he obviously had the huge game at Rivers or last weekend in Omaha or I don't remember. For a huge game to start off the last weekend, and then in this one again they go down and the other team ties it up. Like they had the lead, they gave it up and put the ball in his hands. They pushed it up the floor and stepped around the guy, threw up a floater at the buzzer and dropped it right in. So good for them to get that kind of win. And that was a heck of a play from Ricky, a guy who Westside is obviously going to need a heck of a lot more from this year with what they lost. And with him being one of kind of the most experienced guys coming back, it's just good to see him continue to get healthy and kind of rediscover his game. Because obviously the role that he was playing coming off the injury, what hardly shot the ball. He was there just kind of fill minutes, try to work off the rust. Now he's going to be a guy that's going to have to impact the game in a lot of different ways. And
they'll have multiple guys that can get you right with Mitchell and Caleb and Stubblefield. And I think Tyson Oddbody is coming along nicely. And you add in Carson Healy now back at Westside and Lofton. Coach Simons doesn't play a ton, but that's decent 6'7" that he'll roll out there.
16s struggled a little bit. Nebraska Supreme went 0-4, but probably might have been the best game I saw them play all spring or summer. Lost a close one to Mocan Elite 15U and playing up. And if you've never seen that Mocan Elite team, they are bigger than most of the 17 teams I saw. They got some giant kids for 15-year-olds. I can't believe looking at that team compared to mine. I can't believe the kids are the same age. But they jumped on them early. They bowed back and forth, and then down the stretch just couldn't quite get enough stops to hold on to it. But shout out to Barrett Bosiger from Norris. Went off for 25 in that game.
Every week, trending, right?
And
every week he comes up on.
And they needed him to be the guy offensively. Like he needed to be aggressive, and he was coming out of the gates. Hit 5 threes in the game. Again, he scored their first 12 points and I think 15 of their first 17. So that was kind of the highlight of the weekend for them. And then go one more shout out here from Kansas City is Cooper Marachek on OSA Brewer from Elkhorn South. He's a guy that obviously Elkhorn South lost basically everybody. The rotation, everybody except for Lincoln Schwartz that played significant minutes. Like the rest of their starters are gone. Their top 5 are gone. So Cooper's a guy that has the opportunity long. He in the 3 games that I watched averaged 15 points, 7 boards, and 3 blocks. He had a game with what was it? 5 blocks. He had 14 points, 11 rebounds, 5 blocks in their last game. Shot 55% from the field, 50% from 3 in the 3 games that I watched. So team didn't have a great weekend. There were some close losses in there that easily could have gone the other way, but Cooper's a guy that I think this summer kind of allowed him to step into that feature role for that team. And that's something that I think will benefit him heading into the high school year as Elkhorn South looks for guys that can fill out their rotation. And then you mentioned MBDA went out there and won the West Coast Elite SoCal Summer Finale. And Pekorski did. I think Cade Cook probably worked that thing out to pull him in to play with them. But
just picked up the phone. The phone is ringing.
Yeah, and Trayson Anderson, Cade Cook, Landon, Dylan Clausen, all those guys. Grant Urbanic had a double-figure game too. Like in the championship against Oregon Elite, Landon led them with 24 points. So I wish I could have seen that team at full strength with the with Dylan and Trayson and Cade all playing together. I never did. But we're seeing the offers come in. Cade racking up D2 offers all over the place. Obviously, Trayson's already committed. And I think Dylan Clausen's probably going to continue to attract more interest as well. So good way for them to close out the summer. And mentioned we got one more left, and then it's pretty much football's up next.
So how would you approach this weekend? I'm curious. Yeah. I mean, because you're competitive, but you've kind of shown you understand context too.
So yeah, I'm still trying to get a feel for what exactly, like the bracket for this thing is insane. So I guess it's, if you're in the championship bracket, just win as many, try to win out, see if you can end the summer with the championship. I think there's a little confused about kind of how some of these teams, like I'm not sure who exactly has a chance to win the whole thing, but like Omaha Elite will be curious to see because they've got a bye. They're the 1 seed, so that's a team that definitely be watching this weekend, see if they can make a run coming off of the disappointing finish to the Pro 16, where obviously they couple of tough consolation games after falling in the semis. But you got new motivation here. You got a championship waiting for you at the end of the bracket.
Do you like the partnership that's happened now with the merger where we're getting more? It seemed like if you were playing in Lincoln for a tournament, you didn't really know what you were getting. Over the last couple of years, with the willingness for Omaha to go to Lincoln and vice versa, I kind of like that, right? And I think we can continue to kind of see that grow with the merger.
And yeah, definitely with Lincoln, Omaha both kind of showing like they can be good hosts for the Pro 16 next Pro League as it continues to grow. I think that'll continue to be a beneficial partnership down the road because I think we're pretty good at these hosting these tournaments here. Otherwise, the 3SSB wouldn't be coming back to Omaha multiple times. The girls 3SSB had a chapter here over in Council Bluffs as well. So I think it's just good for sports fans around here. It's good for the programs, just knowing they've got those partnerships that people like bringing their events here. And so kind of late in the summer, you never quite know what you're going to get, but it is good kind of for those kids to be able to close this out one last one at home with bragging rights on the line.
We'll see if we get to the transition of fall sports, but we'll for sure close out this past weekend next Wednesday. We're going to get back to Wednesday. Are we doing Tuesdays or Wednesdays?
I don't know. It's
let's think about that. It may be Tuesday.
I've got Big Ten Media Day Tuesday. So
it's not going down on a Tuesday?
It's not going down on Tuesday next week.
Up on a Wednesday. Back next week with one of my favorites. Always can bring a smile. We'll keep the high school sports covered with my man Jacob Padilla. It's another week of NEB Preps. It's Nebraska Preps Postgame.
A Hurrdat Sports Network production.